Hi, I'm DZ, and welcome to my bedroom. Not in the bar down room for this one, but we're still gonna have some fun. So the NHL 22 launch trailer just dropped, and we got a whole bunch of new information. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new game engine. Yep, it took a little longer maybe than we all would have liked, but the Frostbite engine is finally here in the NHL series. They also introduced the new Superstar X Factor system, which could bring about some new gameplay changes that'll make the game feel different from the last one, potentially. But before we get into any of that, and before I kind of share my thoughts and opinions on everything that they've unveiled in this new launch trailer, we actually got to sit down with one of the EA devs, and I got to ask them some questions. 7 questions, to be exact. Or so. Yes, and the choice of the cover athlete, Auston Matthews, which, if you saw the trailer, I guess you saw me interviewing him in there. There were some technical difficulties with that interview, so I don't have the whole thing. But stick around, check out the pieces that we do have of the interview a little bit later on in this video, because he was just super chill and it was fun to talk about the game with him. Alright, time for the interview. And for that, we go to our other studio. Daniel? Thank you, Daniel. So, as developers of a sports video game, you have to deal with some of the most passionate fans there are, sports fans and video game fans. What's one piece of criticism that you heard out there about NHL 21 that you feel that you've addressed with NHL 22?
Yeah, great question. So, couple, I guess there's a two-part answer to that. One is, in the last couple of years, for the fans have been following, our franchise and the sport. We've seen an explosion of young talent, right? So the McDavids and Matthews really cementing themselves as the next generation, players and leaders of the game, and making sure that we, tell the stories of those superstars in our game, right? So last year we started with, 21, be a pro, and the story is all about you. This year we want to bring that to the broader kind of NHL, avid fan. And the second piece is in terms of, NHL, we produce a game every year, and our challenge is making sure that we evolve the game and make sure there's a rich experience for anyone, whether they're playing, offline career mode, online with their friends, multiplayer through World of Chell, or playing, head to head. We wanted to make sure that we raise the tide and benefit all those players as well, rather than leave them out in the cold, so to speak. So I guess those were the top two things that we want to address.
With the addition of X Factor, can you explain how players are going to feel the difference between using star players, maybe someone like Auston Matthews and Leon Draisaitl?
Yeah, so the goal of the feature and how it came about was, like I said, we wanted to change up the way that superstars, that we tell stories about superstars, obviously, and how they feel was a very important element. Changing the strategy within the game was kind of a secondary goal as well, equally important. We wanted players who were playing, against Auston Matthews, let's say, to have the ability to, to take a Victor Hedman, for example, right? To be able to, for the opposition, to basically neutralize them if they play, play the position, they play the timing right, etc. So that's the kind of the tug of war that we're getting at. And then also the third piece is that it's not just boost and ratings only. We change a lot of kind of the under the hood conditions, right? So we talked about being able to shoot a one timer from a bad pass, maybe not a bad pass, but a subpar pass, or maybe the puck is a bit behind you. We know Ovi, given time and space, can probably score on the best goalies in the world, and not really have a chance for them to stop the puck. So really highlighting what players are known for, and being able to remove all those kind of real world conditions, and make sure every time that you trigger and queue up that ability, that you're feeling that success.
Okay, so like a player like Auston Matthews, for example, is he going to have, like a quicker release as a result of X Factor? Just because obviously, that's something that's like signature to his goal scoring style.
For sure. Yeah. That's all under the hood in terms of, calculating the without going into the details, like how long does it take for someone who isn't Auston Matthews to ready up and get ready to take the shot. I mean, the difference, we've probably heard from players, but the difference between a top level AHL player and NHL players is actually very, very small in terms of margin of error. But when you're talking about seconds, and having a good look at the net. A second later, you might not have that chance. So definitely someone like Matthews, you're if you're in the spot, we are going to give you the best chance possible.
Obviously, Frostbite is going to represent a significant visual upgrade, but there are some other instances that you can kind of point out that maybe players are really going to notice changes other than to player models.
I think the biggest thing we talked about is going to be X factors, and in terms of how the players play and feel in moment to moment gameplay. So the examples I gave around shooting and how long it takes for you to settle the puck and get an accurate shot, to defenders being able to interrupt passes in passing lanes. That's where you're gonna feel the impact of X factors, and whether a player has a zone ability that's more powerful, or even a superstar ability that's still powerful but not as standout as the zone ability. So that's an area where our fans are hopefully going to feel the biggest difference.
So one thing I'm kind of curious on is, will Frostbite kind of make it easier to implement some of the things that we see in other EA Sports titles? For example, you guys introduced hypermotion in FIFA. Now with Frostbite in the NHL series, is that something potentially that we could see in the future since Frostbite is there?
Yeah, for sure. So animation, our animation and gameplay team, have done some really good work in the last few years, starting with what we've done with RPM and sorry, PTM, and changing up the skate model, changing the way we shooting the puck, to the upgraded physics. Frostbite does put us on the path now that we have a foundation to continue pushing and seeing growth in that area. So that's something we're really excited about. And the example that you gave with hypermotion and the new mocap tech, that's a prime example of where we're going to start to see gains for sure.
One of the exciting prospects of Frostbite for FIFA was the fact that it brought about a mode like The Journey. And you know that your fan base has obviously been asking for a story mode for a long time. Just kind of curious, does this change anything in regards to whether or not you guys are planning a story mode in the future to kind of go on top of the Be a Pro mode?
Yeah, so every year we try to keep evolving the game and making the major modes fresh. With what going back to sorry, what I meant to say is going back to NHL 21. We actually made a very big change in terms of creating storylines, create unique challenges based on how you play those storylines, to the content, new cutscenes, ultimately offering meaningful choice. Don't know what the can't say what the future holds for NHL 23 immediately. The focus has been on launching 22, but I wouldn't say something like a major upgrade in Be a Pro franchise mode is off the table at all. I mean, we try to, as much as possible, build as much as many new features into the modes that our fans love to play. So yeah, I'm excited to see what's to come.
The NHL's partnership with Adidas has kind of helped reinvigorate people's interest in retro looks and retro jerseys. Obviously, I know you can't announce any of Adidas's plans, but I'm wondering, are we going to see some new throwback jerseys in this game? Perhaps the 90s Sabres black and red jerseys?
Again, probably that content's going to be reserved for the content deep dive, but what I can say is we always strive to be as authentic and up to date as possible. So yeah, we'll have to hang on to that question.
A bit of a sidebar on that one, because I'm just kind of curious myself here. So obviously you have Jofa buckets in the game and old equipment, but for example, like Timu's helmet, his Jofa helmet, is it tough to kind of get those models into the game since Jofa as a company doesn't even really exist anymore?
Yeah, I mean, anything that we do with authenticity and when it comes to equipment is done in strong partnership with all our hockey partners and manufacturers. It starts from getting like you're saying, anything from new jersey models from Adidas ahead of time to new stick or skates. We have really supportive partners who are open to sharing those ideas and those assets with us so we can get into game for our fans and our players. I would say the challenge is the volume of gear that we have to produce, right? And I'll go back to the example of True Hockey when they started exploding on the scene. with the likes of Mitch Marner moving over. We were clamoring, we're like, yeah, let's, and we're big hockey fans ourselves. So yeah, we have to get this in. So it's just a matter of, prioritizing and seeing how much of it can we possibly get, and maximizing the volume on a catalog.
This is also another question which I'd imagine you guys are probably going to address a little bit further down the line, but might as well ask, I figured. Community created custom rosters. Anything in the way of an update on that?
Amongst other things, roster sharing is definitely on our radar. But yeah, nothing to announce on that front today.
All right, and so my final question, for anyone who's bought, NHL 18, 19, 20, and 21, and maybe is really feeling like they need a new feature to really help pull them in, a reason to really buy this game, what would you say to someone who's looking to buy NHL 22? What's the best thing about it?
Yeah, I mean, starting off, we talked a lot about X factors. That's going to make, moment-to-moment gameplay feel very different. In terms of feeling the impact, who you choose to deploy in the line, to how you play your opponent, and we talked a lot about visuals, and I've been on the franchise for too long, more than 10 years now. Oh my god. And not a single year have we had a visual upgrade this big and this significant. So it's going to feel really big. And last but not least, obviously we talk about how important our Rolachel and Ishol fans are. So really excited that we're going to bring some modern, experiences and modern partying up, flows to that group.
Appreciate your time, man.
Thank you very much for having us, and we're looking forward to bringing this game to our fans very shortly.
And we're back. So yeah, that was our interview, and obviously it seems as if there's a lot more announcements to come. I tried my hardest to get some info on some other stuff, but understandably, they're going to be rolling some things out. I'm sure they have a whole plan for it, so hoping to hear even more. As for my thoughts now on the NHL 22 launch and what we know so far, well, these are my thoughts so far. First and foremost, I'm very happy that they've gone and finally switched to the Frostbite engine. It really just kind of opens up the field to a lot more possibilities of what you can do and what you can change. Yes, that means that most likely with this year's title, you may see things kind of get pared down a bit because they're going to have to get used to it, and they're going to be focusing on a lot of other things that were already kind of tailored and tuned in the last titles. So I'm kind of personally expecting to see the features pared back a little bit. Hopefully I'm wrong on that. You can't deny, though, that the game does look better. And as someone who has stared at those graphics, not just from playing, but also from doing all those Thumb League videos, part of what made the Thumb League videos fun to do is the fact that the character models kind of look cartoonish in the old ones. They don't really look realistic, shall we say. But in this trailer, you can already tell the faces do look considerably better. And one of the things that they mentioned, again, lighting, huge. I do think that's something that you will notice when the full game is playing. In the trailer, it's kind of hard to see anything in a trailer as far as, what really is going to look different, because, they cut trailers very well. Can't deny that. But I would love to see what it looks like in motion, and I get that lighting upgrades and player model upgrades might not be exactly what people are kind of clamoring for, but personally, I do think the game looked dated, and if you really want to make that step to the next gen, then I'm very happy that Frostbite is there, because it's going to open up a lot of possibilities, not just visually. The X Factors. I'm also excited about this. I don't know how much depth it's going to add to the gameplay. So far, it seems like it could add something, but, till we have it in hand, it'll be a little bit difficult to tell how it changes the gameplay. But if you've ever watched any of Corwin and I's reviews of the game, one of the biggest things we've always said is that it's tough to feel a difference between, an 82 overall player and an 88 or 90 overall player in NHL games. Like, players tend to feel very similar. And I get it, you don't want players that are OP, but I think having someone like Auston Matthews, for example, like legit, if his release is quicker and you sense that, and it's just, something where you're like, when I use him, yeah, I'm going to shoot way more, and I'm going to expect actual different changes in the gameplay. If they're able to somehow find a way to capture that, just ways to feel a difference from these players that you haven't really been able to feel in the past. I'm hoping that X Factor brings that. Don't know yet, want to get our hands on it, but that has me excited at least that the gameplay will feel a little bit different, and maybe they can solve that problem where NHLers don't just kind of feel very similar in the middle. And yes, the choice of the cover athlete. I know that this seems to be pretty divisive, having Auston Matthews as the cover athlete for a second time. Totally understand that fans always kind of just, they want variety in the sense that they just want to see new players on the cover. And obviously people who play the game, they're not just a fan of a few teams, they're a fan of a lot of teams. So seeing other players that aren't Leafs probably would feel excellent to them. That being said, I do totally understand why they picked Auston as the cover athlete. I mean, the whole point of having someone on the cover of your game is to market it, and he's like the most marketable player at the moment. And I know I'm not telling you guys anything that you don't know already about that, but I am also trying to be pragmatic, I suppose, about it. Well, wearing a Kylian Mbappe shirt. It seems to be an EA-wide strategy that they're going for star players who are established, and that's across every sport. Look, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady for the Madden cover, Kylian Mbappe, as I just said, for the FIFA covers. He's now been the cover athlete 2 years running. So I think Auston Matthews fits in line with that. Superstar player, but also a superstar player that actually like plays their game and, you know, is going to really help them as far as marketing goes. I like the choice, but then again, I'm a Leafs fan, so you're probably not going to want to listen to me on that either. Anyways, I do understand someone who maybe wants to see like a Cale Makar, Barzal, or Kaprizov on a cover. Who knows? Maybe we'll see them in the near future. But you know who we're going to see right now? The cover athlete himself. The man who, yes, we had a full discussion with, but there were some technical difficulties as far as not being in the same room and having connection issues and that. Obviously, his time is pretty limited, so we couldn't redo it, but here's what we do have from it. Check it out. Athletes who have graced the cover 2 times. Messi, Ronaldo, Brady, Mahomes, Ovechkin, Auston Matthews. What's it feel like to have your name on that list now?
Yeah, that's pretty sick. I honestly didn't even know that. So when you kind of put it in perspective, like it's really humbling, honestly. I'm really excited, and you know, just to be in the same kind of sentence as those kind of guys, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Each and every year, fans hope to see their favorite player grace the cover of a game, and you know, obviously, it seems like you were a fan of the series yourself when you were a kid. Wondering, was there anyone when you were younger that you wish to have seen on the cover that, you know, maybe didn't get the honor themselves?
I don't know. Like I grew up, I loved like Kane, Patrick Kane, Taves. Was Sid ever on? I don't think Sid was ever on the cover, was he?
He has not been yet.
Yeah. So that's kind of a bit of a surprise to me in a way because you know, he's kind of been the face of the league for the last decade or so. So I guess I would have liked to see him on the cover because I really grown up watching him too.
Growing up in Arizona, I'm guessing that you played a ton of road hockey. So it has me wondering, how into an NHL street game would you be?
Well, I like that 3-on-3. I guess it's kind of like similar, even though you're still on ice. But I think it'd be kind of cool to do like a roller hockey feature kind of thing, and it was like outdoors or something, and like different like landscapes and stuff. Yeah, I did grow up playing a lot of road hockey. And I mean, it's the best. Like when you grow up playing road hockey, like it's there's nothing better just playing with all your buddies in the neighborhood and stuff. So I have a lot of really good memories of that.
So obviously your celebration of the game, it's a good old hand to the ear. But what's one of your favorite celebrations of all time that maybe you'd select for your character, even if you wouldn't do it in real life?
I think the coolest one was when it was actually Pat Kane of the Western Conference Finals against the Kings. He scored the overtime winner, and then he slid on 2 knees and did the heartbreaker. Yeah, I thought that one was pretty sweet. Just like, I don't know, it was just like so cool, and he did it like so smooth. It was just like such a perfect moment for that, you know, like you're sending your team to the Cup Finals and you score the winner, like what a moment.
Auston Matthews. Auston Matthews.